What's your name? What grade are you in?
Clarissa, I'm a junior.
All right, Clarissa, what is something you should never have to be reminded to do?
Be kind.
Yes, be kind. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Araya and I'm in 10th grade.
Hi, my name's Madalena and I'm in 10th grade.
Hi, my name is Anaya and I'm in 11th grade.
Hi, I'm Riley Washington and I'm also in 11th grade.
Awesome. Okay, ladies, what is something you should never have to be reminded to do?
Be respectful.
Be kind.
Talking while others are talking.
Help other people.
My name's Taylor Hanson. I'm a junior.
All right, Taylor, what is something you should never have to be reminded to do?
Something you should never be reminded to do is have respect. Always treat people with respect. Always treat things with respect. That's just something that you should always be doing.
My name's Imani and I'm a sophomore.
All right, Amani, what is something you should never have to be reminded to do?
You should never have to be reminded to be respectful.
I'm Ava Todd and I'm a senior.
I'm Mateo and I'm a senior.
I'm Courtney and I'm a senior.
All right, guys, the question is, what is something you should never have to be reminded to do?
I would say something that you should never be reminded to do is just being kind and respectful to others because it's so easy and it's so rewarding in the end.
Nice.
I would say to just forever have integrity.
I was also going to just say be nice to everyone.
Be nice to everyone. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
I'm Onso and I'm a senior.
Let's go. All right, Anto, what is something you should never have to be reminded to do?
You should never have to be reminded to be kind and love people because the way you make someone feel will always stick with them.
Okay, so something that you should never be reminded to do is to smile. Take a deep breath and enjoy your time here. We get a lot going on in life here, and just smiling and enjoying your time here, we have great things to do, and it's a fabulous time to be a Raider. And so just take a deep breath, smile, and know that you're going to enjoy all your time while you're a Raider here at Richland.
Brian Hastings, senior.
Senior, let's go. All right, Brian.
27.
Let's go. Brian, what is something you should never have to be reminded to do?
You should never have to be reminded to not have your phone out when you're walking in the halls or if you're in the classroom.
I like that. That's a great answer. Let's go. Appreciate you.
I'm Akshit Shankar, and I am a sophomore.
All right. What is something that you should never have to be reminded to do?
One thing that you should never be reminded to do is to always be honest to yourself and for the whole society, and also be very kind to others, and basically follow the Raider Rise rules, all the things. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Hey guys, I love hearing what you guys have to say when I ask these questions around campus. The reason why I asked this specific question is I wanted you guys to see the types of things that people would say, and I want you to notice that nobody said follow the rules. Nobody said you should never have to be reminded to follow the rules. Brian did say nobody should ever have to remind you to keep your cell phone in your pocket when you're walking down the hallway, which is a rule, but he didn't talk about the rule itself. He talked about a behavior. He talked about a standard of behavior that you can create a habit of over time. And what I wanted you to notice in all of this is that there's a difference between rules and standards. So rules are an external thing. Rules are something that you have to comply with. Rules tell us what we have to do. Standards describe who we've decided to become, right? All around our school, you see things that say RISE on it, right? Respect, integrity, safety, and excellence. Those are what we call championship behaviors. Those are the standards that define who we want to become, right? We don't have a rule in the school that says be respectful, right? Rules say don't do this, like don't litter, right? Standards say I'm going to leave this place better than when I found it, right? Rules say be on time. Standards say people can count on me. Rules say be respectful. The standard says I'm going to treat every person with dignity because that's who I am. Rules are about compliance. Standards are about character. Now, don't get me wrong. Rules are important. Hear me say that, right? Rules, every school has rules, and every team has rules, and every organization has rules. Rules create order. Without rules, I was in somebody's class yesterday and they talked about what happens if you don't have any rules. Would you get anything done at school? Probably not. There might be chaos. If we didn't have any rules, you probably have chaos. But the kind of culture we're trying to create here at Richland High School isn't based on rules, right? It's not, and we're not going to build a championship culture if people walk around afraid of breaking the rules. Championship cultures are built because people have chosen to live by a higher standard. When I was still coaching football, I got to see this in real life. Excuse me. It was my 12th year of coaching, and I had just moved, my 9th year of coaching. My 9th year, you guys don't care. My 9th year of coaching, and we had just moved, my wife and I moved to another state and took a job. And the school that we went to had a tradition of excellence. They had won a ton of state championships. Matter of fact, the football team that I was coaching had just won 3 state championships in a row before I got there. So we were going after our 4th. And I had heard about the reputation of the school, but I didn't really understand the magic behind it. I didn't understand why they were able to perform at such a high level. They're great athletes, there's no doubt. But when I got there, the first day that I was at work, I was working at strength conditioning camp. And if you know anything about that, there's a lot of running, there's a lot of pressure, and it's hot outside and it's intense. And the thing that I noticed on day one is that the coaches weren't having to tell our athletes, make sure you touch the line, make sure you start before the line, make sure you finish through the line. They never had to remind them to do that. The teammates were reminding each other to do that. And it wasn't because the coaches were watching, it was because they knew that the way you do the small things is the way you do all things. And they understood that this, missing the line by this much, that's the difference. That's the distance that it takes to win a state championship. If you can't hold yourself accountable enough to get all the way to the line, if you can't hold your teammates accountable enough to get all the way to the line, you're not going to have it in the tank when you're playing, if you get a chance to play for a state championship game. I was very fortunate that year. We won another state championship, and the next 3 years we played in the state finals 2 more times. We played in the state semifinals 1 more time. An outstanding group of kids, but the thing about it was they were trying to live like champions. And that's actually where I got this phrase that we put all over our school, is live like a champion today, because that was the first place where I saw it lived out. It was the first place where I saw a group of kids decide that they were going to be the type of humans that do the little things right all the time. And that's what I hope that we become here at Richland. I want us to become a school where nobody has to remind us to pick up the trash. Nobody has to remind us to include the new kid who's sitting by themselves at lunch. Nobody has to remind us to say thank you, or to be respectful, or, to do any of those things, right? I want this to be a place where we do those things because that's who we've chosen to be. Right? So here's my challenge for you. I want you to think of a behavior that people currently have to remind you about. Maybe it is being on time, right? We just started counting tardies yesterday. Several of you already have a few. Maybe you need help with that. Maybe you need to focus on that. Maybe it's putting your phone away so that you're not getting it taken up, and so that your parents don't have to come pick it up, or putting your headphones away so that it's not getting taken up, or your parents don't have to come pick it up. Maybe it's cleaning up after yourself if you're sitting in the library, if you're sitting upstairs, or even when you're sitting in the cafeteria. Whatever it is, I want you to make a decision that this week it stops being a rule for you and it starts to become a standard. It starts to become who you want to be. And from there, start living that out, right? Champions don't wait for somebody else to tell them what to do. They don't wait for others to remind them. They hold themselves to a higher standard, okay? Here at Richland, the standard is the standard. RISE, rise, respect, integrity, safety, excellence. Not because someone else expects it, but because you've decided that that's who you're going to be. That's who we are, and that's what it means when we say we build champions here. This is the type of human that we're trying to create. So, three discussion questions for your advisory class. 1, why do you think successful teams and organizations talk about standards rather than rules? They spend way more time talking about standards than they do about rules. Why is that? 2, what's one behavior that you want to be more consistent about so that nobody ever has to remind you about it again? And 3, and this may be a little bit tougher question to talk about, how do we create the kind of place where peers help hold each other accountable to a higher standard without tearing each other down? It's easy to say, hey, that's dumb, don't do that. but you're probably not going to get a great response there, right? So how do we, as peers, hold one another accountable without tearing each other down? Talk about those 3 questions in your advisory, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Have a great day, and let's ride.